Cubs with some guys that are on the mend right now, some of their best players. We're going to get into that. Justin Steele, one of those guys that could be back with the Cubs in less than 2 weeks. How about the win in New York last night? Cubs stunned the Mets. Got the neon behind me flashing. It's saying Cubs win. Cubs win. Let's get into all that right here on the Cubs Baseball channel. Make sure you like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up, and let's get this party started. What do you say, everybody? With Anthony Pasquale, I'm Mick Gillispie. Good to see you guys. At Ant Pasquale3, I'm at Broadcaster Mick. And right off the bat, lots to talk about on the show. And the good news is that the cavalry is on the way. We're starting to see the timeline as far as getting guys back. Now that you don't have Jordan Wicks, you need another starter. Justin Steele is less than 2 weeks away if everything goes well.
Yeah, at one point we were talking about the beginning of the season, this rotation having too many lefties, and now two of them are both on the injured list. But it seems like Steele's getting closer and closer to returning. I was listening to his podcast, and he said that he might only need one rehab start in Iowa because he kept throwing. He said, he told Craig, I'll throw for my knees if I have to, but I don't want to have to get re-stretched out. So that's something he's been trying to focus on. It looks like if all goes well on his rehab start Wednesday in Iowa, that his next start could be in Chicago. So that's really good news. You want to get your ace back. Craig also talked about some of the other guys on the IL. Julian Merryweather, he's going to start throwing Friday. It seems like he's probably got the longest road back of all these guys. And then Bellinger kind of leaped Suzuki in terms of recovery time. He's beginning light baseball activity, and Suzuki's a few steps behind. I know that rib, you can probably, get it healthy a lot sooner than the oblique. That soft tissue is a lot harder to work with. But for the most part, I'd say this is good news.
Yeah. Well, first off, I was glad to hear about Steele, and you and I talked about the fact that he never quit throwing. He's a competitor, but he's also a guy that just loves the game. I don't know about that with all the players that I run into. Not everyone loves the game. Steele loves the game.
Yeah.
I think that if he wasn't playing, he'd be coaching, right? Or he'd be on a men's team or something. I mean, this is a guy who eats, sleeps, and dreams baseball. And I love that. I think that's how a lot of us are too. And that was always the thing I really connected with him, when I knew him coming up with, because I love the game too. And it's infectious. So it's been a lot of fun seeing him develop into a star pitcher. And with Jordan Wicks going out, and we got into this yesterday, kind of surprising to me. And it's the first time that I've really been concerned about an injury, because I kind of felt like we had the pieces to navigate through it. For some reason, just got that bad gut feeling when he went out. It was good to see that Merryweather's going to start throwing. Who knows what his timeline is. I mean, just kind of a weird injury. Bellinger, light baseball activity. Okay. So, maybe those ribs heal. They basically say when he comes off of the IL, when he's eligible, they want him to be able to come back. So we'll see if that's possible. Right. But what really was shocking to me was that Suzuki is a couple weeks behind Bellinger. I thought by now that he would be in position to, start doing, at least games somewhere, rehab games, but he's not. So the Cubs are going to have to rely on some of the young players for a while longer. And honestly, every night is an adventure with these guys, but they're getting it done. They're finding a way to be competitive. Craig Counsell talked about that, being competitive. Going out there and being competitive, see what happens. And so far on this road trip, they're 2 wins and 2 losses, and they had a walk-off loss. So, they've been in 3 games, and then they lost 1-17-zip. So we'll scratch that one. But how about the game, dude? Like, how about that game?
It was such a huge win. I know we were texting before we started, and all you had to say was great win. And it's so true. That was such a big win. just for momentum. We're almost through April, and the Cubs still haven't lost 3 in a row yet. So they've done a really good job of battling back after losses. And after losing 17-0 and then on a walk-off to show up last night and get no hit through like 5 innings.
No, it's like 7.
Yeah, no hit through 7, riding a great start from Jamison Taillon. Unfortunately, he can't get the win in this situation, but Christopher Morel with a huge swing of the bat in the 9th inning, a 2-run homer to give the Cubs the lead, and they go home winners, and that name on the bottom of your screen is a big reason why.
Yeah, let's talk about Taillon, because last year Cubs paid, I thought, pretty good money to get him, and he
Yeah.
was a disappointment. Not always a disappointment, but very inconsistent and not a dominant pitcher by any means, right? He didn't like that and worked hard in the offseason to do something about it. And I got to tell you, like, it's only 3 starts, but he's been so solid for these guys. If this is what we can expect from him, man, I'm telling you, we got something going right here. And why is he so good in New York? Remember last year, really his best game was when he shoved on the Yankees.
Yeah, he's got, I think 5 straight quality starts as a road pitcher in either of the New York stadiums. I think I saw that on Twitter. Yeah, he was phenomenal. It's interesting to me that they pulled him with 78 pitches. It seemed like maybe he still has some stretching out to do yet, but he could have easily gotten through the 8th and maybe the 9th. He was pitching to contact really, really well. There wasn't a whole lot of hard hit balls after that first inning, and I love what I've seen from him so far. I think 1 run in each of the 3 starts, you can play with that every single time. I think he's gotten to the point where we're deep enough into this season that when you get him every 5th day, you got to feel good about your chances to win a ball game.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that, and I'm excited about what we're seeing with Tyone, and it really does make this team super competitive. I mean, you want to have a chance to win. Now, Christopher Morel, that home run in the 9th inning, he's hit some big home runs in his young career, and it was power against power, right? The trumpets were playing, but who was going to answer the trumpet? And it was Morel with the bomb. I kept thinking, like, eventually he's going to throw him something off speed. And then all of a sudden he just crushed it. It was like, whoa, that's why we've got to be so patient with Morel figuring out that third base spot. Made a nice play in the game last night. I'm still not totally comfortable with him at third, but I like him at third base as long as I get that bat in the lineup because of hits like that.
Yeah, and he's kind of like he's got a little bit of Javi to him where it's like just let Javi be Javi. You just
Yeah.
got to let Morel be Morel. Let him be athletic and figure things out at third base. At the plate, I know a lot of people online have been talking about how, disappointing he's been since the first couple of series and how maybe he should get a day off here or there. But here's the thing, with no Bellinger and no Suzuki, you've got little to no power in that lineup. And with Wisdom and Mervis not really swinging the bat well, Morel's a guy that you need in that lineup.
Right.
I don't care. You need him in there. I don't want a magical spot in that lineup when you could have a Morel type bat. And the fact of the matter is he showed up big time in the 9th inning. Now, Mick, I got to ask you, was that swing of the bat bigger for the Cubs team as a whole or bigger for Christopher Morel, the hitter?
That's a good one. I feel like it's bigger for the Cubs just because I Morel's the kind of guy who is just going to keep on going out there and swinging away. I mean, he's a boxer and he's going to throw punches, right?
Yeah.
Just like Mick would have trained Rocky on your shirt, your T-shirt there, right? You
Yep.
just go out there and throw punches. He's a puncher. He's going to keep on doing that. But I was worried, like if the Cubs lose this game, now all of a sudden you've lost 3 in a row. You finally got in the power rankings, like
Yeah.
people are starting to look at you like you're a good team. And the loss of Wicks just really concerned me. It was like, what's going on here? Like, how many guys can we lose? But for Tyone to go out there and get the job done, now you still have 3 more games in New York. If you can just win 1 more of them, then you had a decent road trip. But it sets you up, like, if you can just keep playing good baseball, maybe you take the series and you win the road trip.
Yeah, I had a really good feeling coming into this series. I would not be shocked if the Cubs swept this series. I think
Really?
after the way they got punched around in Boston, their pitching lines up really well with this series, and New York's a team that ever since the 2015-16, they've had some success against, especially at that stadium. Um, so I'm kind of interested to see how the rest of the series goes. I like Assad. I like Imanaga. I think they got a good chance to take 3 out of 4 at least.
Yeah, we'll get into that rotation coming up here in a second. But I wanted to talk about Pete Crow-Armstrong. Last year, we started the channel. We were so excited about what Pete Crow-Armstrong could bring to the team. We didn't see it. We didn't see it on defense. We didn't see it on the bases. We didn't see it at the plate. And there were so many people that were like, hey, this guy can't play. He stinks. He's not, whatever, man. People panicking. Now you're seeing it. He covers so much ground in the outfield. I mean, think about some of those balls. He's just showing up to them. Like, they're not even that big of an effort for him, but off the bat, you're like, oh, that's a double. And then you're like, oh, no, it's not. We got Hollywood Pete showing up, The home run that he hit to win that game
Happy
at
birthday
Wrigley
to me.
Field. Happy birthday to you. You were there. Too bad you didn't catch the ball.
I know.
It's changed his confidence level. We're seeing now the guy. I love the way that I see him moving around, all of the hits, but it's more than that. It's just him relaxing, playing his game. And I'm telling you right now, there's some things that he does even better than Cody Bellinger. And one of them's play defense. And the other thing is there's just a spark now. But the fact that he's at the bottom of the lineup, they're saying, hey, don't do too much. He's really a good piece for this team.
Yeah, there's a lot of little wrinkles to what you just said that I could jump off of, but the fact of the matter is, after that homer, he had some swagger, and everybody was talking about how he played in Iowa like his hair was on fire. And whenever we saw him in the big leagues, he just looked a little bit timid. But since that home run, he's got so much confidence now, and I love seeing him at the plate. I know the play you're talking about where it was like, oh, that's a double. And then there he was under the ball. It was in Boston.
Yeah.
They said that catch had I think 65 or 75% like that it wouldn't be caught.
Yeah.
And he's camped under it. Like, he didn't even have to dive or slide for it. Like,
No.
that's the type of range he has.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it
and
brings me.
stop right there, because you just said something I got to talk about. What he's able to do is he's got this first step quickness we talked about last year that you couldn't see last year, where he almost anticipates where the ball's going to be. Sam Fold's the only other player that I can really think of that just had this internal instinct. And that play, there was one he made in Colorado last year that
Yeah.
was kind of the same thing, but that play, that's it. It's not diving. It's not, it's not making a diving catch. It's just making the catch and making it on your feet because you're fast and you have those instincts.
Yeah, absolutely. And you kind of wish he was around in 17 and 18, and you could put Schwarber and Castellanos in left and right, and then you
Oh,
got a
yeah.
guy that could make up for it in center. But the other thing about it is the defense is so good, and that's not a knock on Bellinger. He's won a Gold Glove out in center field. But I wonder, especially because of Mervis's struggles, but because Morel has started to figure out third base and DH is more of a lefty-right split type of thing,
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if maybe against righties, you get Pete Crow in center, Bellinger at first, and Bush at DH. And then against lefties, maybe Bush gets the day off, Bellinger back in center, and they kind of work around that. Because I think Pete Crow's done enough that once Bellinger comes back, he's a guy you need to keep on the roster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this is what we wanted at the beginning of the year, because he can be a difference maker for a team. And that home run, he's arrived now. Now
Yeah,
we're
he's here.
seeing it. And it's like just such a relief because and I knew it was going to happen, and I just hope that it keeps happening, right? Stay healthy, just keep doing your thing. And it was really fun to see him against the team that traded him. There were people in that Mets organization that were against that deal for Javi Baez, but they made it anyway. And now he's on the big league roster. All right, you love to preview these matchups. We got 3 more in New York, including 6:10 tonight.
Yeah, 6:10 tonight. We got our favorite Javier Assad on the mound. I wish he was getting a little bit more love in these pitcher power rankings that are coming out, because I don't think you could find 10 starting pitchers that have had a better 5 starts than Javier Assad. 2-0 on the season with a 2 ERA. Should be 3-0, but got pulled a little early, kind of like Taillon. last night, but up against Sean Manaea, who's kind of bounced around the last couple of years. I know he was an A and a Padre. I think he might have been a White Sox for a little while. I'm not positive on that, but he's kind of bounced around, figured it out a little bit in New York so far. So it'll be interesting to see him on the mound. But I like our chances with Javi going for Chicago.
Yeah, and the Cubs trying to get it done. Shota going to pitch the next game. Then Ben Brown, the afternoon getaway game on Thursday. So there's your pitching matchups for the Mets and the Cubs. And Cubs, hey, look, you're right. Like the pitching does line up. I mean, the way that you want it to, unlike it did in Boston, especially when you took Wicks out of the mix. So knowing that Wednesday, Steele's going to throw for Iowa, now all of a sudden you're going, hey, less than 2 weeks, maybe next week he could be in the rotation pitching again for the Cubs. And then all of a sudden now your rotation looks really good if you slide him in, even without Jordan Wicks. So, we'll see what happens. But guys, keep commenting in the comment section. Keep talking Cubs baseball with us on a daily basis. We'll keep an eye out for anything big and we'll jump on and talk about it. Thank you for hanging out with us. And don't forget, Friday is our next watch party.
Yep, watch party week.
Watch party week. They get exciting, don't they?
Absolutely. And I'm pretty sure the Brewers also lost last night. So if I'm not mistaken, Cubs are a first place team right now.
There you go. Go Cubs, go. Let's go
Yes,
through
sir.
all of this. Craig Counsell, man, he's just figures out a way,
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, look, it doesn't matter, what the roster looks like. Just everybody do their job, and let's see if we can figure out a way to get it done. So we'll see if they can do that again tonight.
Yep.
Fly it, baby. Fly
it.
I feel like I need to do this real quick.
There we go.
On our way out, it's saying "Go Cubs."
Yeah, you can kind of see it. Go Cubs, go.
Go Cubs, go. All right, guys, have a great day, and we'll talk to you again really soon. Go Cubs.